It's 5:30, so we'll call to order this meeting for Monday, March 24th. Kathy, standing in for Jordan over there, would you start us off with a roll call, please?
Please respond by stating present. Councilmember Ronayne,
Present.
Foberg,
Present.
Liebelt,
Present.
Ward,
Present.
Johnson,
Present.
Langer,
Present.
Nostrop,
Present.
Mayor Shoneman.
Present. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. First order of business will be to approve this week's agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Councilman Ward, second Councilwoman Liebelt. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next item is our approval of last week's minutes. Meeting took place last Monday, March 17th. I take a motion to approve the minutes from that meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt and a second Councilman Northrup. Anyone have anything to add on either of these minutes? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. When I arrived, no one had signed up for the open forum, so we will move along to our consent calendar where we've got 9 items of city business, a couple of nominating petitions for council. We've got a couple of mobile home park licenses, taxi cab, ride line grant application report, minutes and reports from 3 city boards. We've got a daycare license renewal, public hearing date set to rezone. Our good friend David is getting a retail on-sale liquor license. David, congratulations on that. Next, we've got a community event permit application from the Shriners for the circus on April 16th through the 20th. Can I get a motion to approve our consent calendar?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion Johnson, second Ward. David, are you going to abstain from that one?
Yeah,
Okay,
I was
so,
just
Mr.
waiting
Mayor,
for
also
the moment.
abstained from H.
all right, sounds great. So, Kathy, would you give us a roll call vote so we could make note of those 2 abstentions of the particular item?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Foberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye. Abstaining from H.
Johnson,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Nostrop,
Abstain for consent calendar.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Make note of those abstentions. We've got nothing in old business, so we've got to move along to our new business where we've got a bit of a presentation here today from our good friend Casey Wisemantle. He provided both login credentials for a bunch of digital information as well as printed packets here today. Casey, make sure your little green light is on so the people on television can hear you.
Green light is on.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mayor Shoneman, Robin, with the city manager, and members of the city council. Thank you for allowing me to come to present to you tonight. Just wanted to give a 2024 update on our marketing. We had a great year in 2024, and we just want to be here to help spread the news. I did, like Mayor Shoneman said, I uploaded the information to your secure page on our website for review. And feel free to go to that page anytime for information, good news, this, that. We try to keep that uploaded and current. So getting the party started here, just kind of an overview of our team. You know, we do have a few new faces on our team and just wanted you to be aware of them. Most notably, Cindy and Amy are kind of new additions to the office, so we welcome them. They've been doing a great job. Our mission, our vision, and our function, I think everybody knows who the Convention and Visitors Bureau is and what we do and why we do it, but the function is really kind of the biggest thing to increase visitor activity to the Aberdeen community with the emphasis on an overnight stay. Our goal is to try to refill that BBB budget or BBB promotional tax. We want those visitors to come here engage in our activities and events and leave as much money as they can while they visit and have a great time, and share that message with other visitors that come to the area. Table of contents, things that we will discuss are our vacation marketing, our hunting marketing, occupancy fee, SIC codes, events, calendar, and leads in our database, and then the Hotel Alliance funding as well. And then ultimately finishing with what do the visitors think of Aberdeen. Visitor traffic, and I apologize, some of this is review for most of you, but again, nonetheless, it's very important, near and dear to our hearts. Visitors, vacation traffic, our marketing starts at 100 miles outside of Aberdeen, and we push that traffic as far as we can. Most of our traffic comes from that regional 3-state area. Looking at the clock on the wall, we really hit hard at from 10 o'clock until about 5 o'clock. Exceptional travel. We do get travel from the hills, of course, but our bread and butter is that northeast and southeast area that come to Aberdeen. That's our vacation marketing. Hunting marketing is a little different. We traffic from ground zero out and push that as far as we can, and most of that goes nationwide. Nationwide with partners, with film crews, outdoor writers, bloggers, are able to help sell that message a little farther, and then depending on what advertising we put in place, helps carry that message as well. Most of that messaging is direct, paid, and organic marketing. With a lot of that, we use our relationships with our vacation marketers and our hunting marketing to extend our message and help keep those costs down in addition. Some of our vacation marketing, we had 20, and this is all 2024. We had 25 print campaigns. We have the billboard out at Summit, which has just got rewrapped for this summer. So we're excited about that. We had 4 digital campaigns, 3 video campaigns, along with Catherine's YouTube videos that she does. We had 83 of those in 2024, 6 radio campaigns, and 29 email marketing campaigns. And the open rate and click-through rate is very high on those. I just wanted to make note of that. Social media, Facebook is our platform. There's no lie there. We have, you can see how we increased our followers. Our engagement was down. Our reach engagement was down just slightly. But then Instagram, we grew that as well, but then the reach is down. So I think we're engaging new followers, but maybe just that consistent message of vacation traffic or this is all vacation traffic, but that consistent message that we're probably hitting some of those repeat customers, but we're happy with the results there. Hunting marketing, we had 9 print campaigns, 2 digital, 2 video, most notably the Meat Eater video that we hosted in Aberdeen a couple years ago. I just pulled that up. It had 489,000 impressions and that was, I think that cost us a couple hotel stays and maybe a few lunches and such, but great people to work with. And when you carry that credibility along with that, it helps engage that message even farther. Radio, we had 5 campaigns, and email marketing, we had 27 campaigns with a 38% open rate and a 2.2 click rate. Again, that's our hunting marketing for 2024. Facebook, again, is the platform of choice for hunting. We increased our followers and our reach on Facebook, and then we increased our followers and our reach on Instagram as well. And Facebook or social media has become very tricky as of late. I think maybe Travis can testify to this as well, is you have to be very select on the images that you use and the words that you use. I myself got myself in Facebook jail for about 3 months on the social media side of things because we advertise, come hunt here. We show images of hunters with guns or maybe a dog retrieving a dead pheasant. Facebook doesn't like that. So I have to be very selective on how we approach our marketing on the hunting side of things. Vacation seems to be wide open, but once you get on the radar of the social media gods, they tend to frown upon some of those images. So I have now been acquitted and released from Facebook jail, so I'm good to go. Website analytics, we are pretty proud of this. We had 101,000 users versus 100,000 users in 2023, but 100,000 of those were new users coming to the website. They average 4.63 pages per user, slightly down from 23, 23 was 2.78 pages, and we had 4.63 pages per user, so we were up there, garnering 469,000 views. The top pages being the homepage, play, and Aberdeen area events. So people are hitting our homepage, they're looking for things to do, and they're excited about the events that we have to offer. Hunting website information, 52,000 users versus 37,023. 51,000 of those being new users, 3.68 pages per user, slightly down from 2003. 185,000 views, again, top pages were the homepage, free hunting guide, and hunting outfitters. So again, they're hitting that homepage, they're requesting that information because they want to come travel here and come hunting, and then trying to hook them up with outfitters, which we gain the recognition there as well. Occupancy fee, you've heard me talk about that many times. It's a $2 fee that's added to a hotel stay anytime a visitor travels to Aberdeen area and rents a hotel room. Many occupants can carry 1 to 3.5 people while attending events. In 2024, the occupancy fee had a 4.53% increase versus a 0.15% in 2023. So we saw a nice little bump of visitor traffic in 2024, and we're extremely happy with that. SIC codes, we track those as well. Again, these are taxable receipts that the city of Aberdeen reports to the state of South Dakota. We track lodging, eating, and drinking, which is the promotional fund, or Triple B is what we call it. In 2024, the SIC codes was 3.73% up versus 1.15% in 2023. Some of that could be inflation, you might say. Yes, I mean, there is inflation included in there. But when you see the visitor traffic of 4.53% with an increase, again, on sales, not all of that is inflation. But nonetheless, we're happy to see those always in the black. Some photos that are related to our industry, attractions in and around Aberdeen. Some of our big hitters: pheasant hunting, Wiley Park, Storybook Land, Thunder Road, Levity, Aqua Addicts, camping out at Wiley Park. Some events that we've hosted in 2024. These are some of the bigger events, not all events, but you can see on that list, there's some strong events that are coming to Aberdeen. BMX, State B, girls softball, karting, cross country, clay target, soccer, family reunions, homecoming, college basketball, Midwest wrestling, Special Olympics, Y tournaments, which I saw Mayor Shoneman's photo for coaching in the Y tournament, so thank you. Indoor dome events, softball association, and swim club meets. I mean, all of those are our big hitters, but there's many little events or medium-sized events that fill in the rest of those dates on the calendar. Again, promoting the AberdeenAreaEvents.com. That's our biggest. My tagline is free to submit and free to promote. We really can't make it any easier. Event funding, wanted to discuss that about the Hotel Alliance. I think there was a question last time from Ms. Folberg. In 2024, the Aberdeen Hotel Alliance paid out almost $79,000 in event sponsorship. And that event sponsorship went to the Aberdeen Q Club, Aqua Addicts, hockey, swim, soccer, theater, bull riding, Arts Council, hardball, public schools, gun club, South Dakota High School Activities, Trappers Film Festival, Family Violence Prevention, Special Olympics, NSU Athletics, Hub City Soccer, and the NSU Foundation Village Bowl. Those are just the big hitters, again, that have requested money on behalf of the Hotel Alliance. Some of those might even come and approach the city council when it comes to the promotional fund as well, but I just wanted you to be aware that the Hotel Alliance also helps fund these events on the backside. Their goal is to try to fund these events for 3 to 5 years to establish a foundation to allow these events to sustain and or move forward. The Hotel Alliance, in addition, paid out almost $113,000 in advertising alone on behalf of of Aberdeen as well. So we utilize their marketing dollars along with their event funding to really make Aberdeen is a place to come visit, spend the night, leave some of that outside visitor dollars while they're here, and just make Aberdeen kind of a premier destination. And you can see some of what the visitors what they think about Aberdeen. I won't read these to you, but they're all positive feedback. I mean, we're talking people that come with generations and or bringing their kids, and really the people in Aberdeen are so friendly and respectful. From Tyler, from Los Angeles, California, that's amazing. So, our reach is not just Alexandria, Fargo, and those 3-hour communities. We're hitting some people that are from outside the region. We had Georgia, Fargo, Minnesota, home base, Brookings, Vermilion, Minnesota, and then California. So you can see some of what people are thinking about the Aberdeen community and why they love to come visit and vacation here. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you for all of your guys' support as well, for what you do to support the Aberdeen Convention and Visitors Bureau. And then in addition to your packet here is kind of we created this little one-sheeter. It's kind of a 1-2-step process of really wanting to get your information out in the community. Number one, come visit us or call us or stop by our office or email us, but come meet with us first before you do anything. The reason being is we have an internal calendar of events that we host where we can help with scheduling to try to alleviate some of those larger weekends when we might say, hey, you might want to host your baseball tournament the weekend before, the weekend after, to help spread the love on that calendar. But please come visit us first. Allow us to provide our services. Number two, submit your event to AberdeenAreaEvents.com. Free to submit, free to promote. I can't really make it any easier. If you can do online shopping, you can easily add your stuff to the calendar of events. And with that, the nice addition too is not only once we get the information from the calendar of events, we hit the publish go live, but both radio stations from Aberdeen pull from that. The Aberdeen Insider pulls from that, the Downtown Association, the Chamber, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Catherine's videos, and our social media, we all pull from that. And we just really want to emphasize the AberdeenAreaEvents.com is the place to be to submit your information. Lastly, I have a little information that I was able to pull from South Dakota Tourism. You do not have this in your packet. I apologize. But in our region alone, Glacial Lakes region, in 2024, almost just over $70 million was spent in our region. 1 in 11 jobs are connected to tourism in the state. Tourism is the 8th ranked industry in the state. And visitor spending, this is a big one, visitor spending reduces the tax burden per household by $1,100. So again, those outside dollars are very important when they come into the community, and it helps us do our job. It helps us refill that Triple B promotional fund, and it really makes Aberdeen a premier destination. And I guess with that, I would open it up to any questions if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you for, again, your support in supporting the CVB, and we look forward to a positive 2025.
So, Casey, I've got a
Yes,
real
sir.
quick question on that. Hotel Alliance also paid $113.50 in advertising on behalf of Aberdeen. What is that? They kick it into your guys' overall budget, or they
Nope.
have that separately? How does that look?
They run their own budget. Their budget usually is right around $325 and change for the year. Of that, they pull all of their event funding and support the events. And really, whatever's left over, we put towards marketing. It could be social media, it could be digital, it could be radio advertisement, but they utilize their budget to enhance ours as well. But it's their separate budget. They make all the decisions. They make they have their own board. They decide what works, what doesn't work. But we help them with our connections as far as advertising goes. We help them navigate those
But
avenues.
it works pretty seamlessly.
It
with
does.
adver-
It really does. I
advertising.
mean, when we can take our budget and take their budget and sell the same message or similar message, I mean, if you're talking a website, it's visit AberdeenSD.com. If you're talking hunting, it's huntfishsd.com. Those are the two avenues. So it's been working really well. Yes.
Great. Well, good work. Anyone else have any questions? Go ahead, Councilman Jones.
Miriam Ward. Perfect, thank you.
More than Johnson.
I just want to say thank you to Casey,
Yeah.
the whole CVB team, for all your work year round, but especially want to highlight what you guys do during the state tournament. Hospitality room is incredible up there. I know you guys do a lot of behind the scenes work to make the bees happen and a lot of the other events. So just wanted to real quick say thank you and highlight all the work you guys are doing. So
I was glad you were able to stop up. I got some preliminary numbers from Cindy, and she thought we served just over 530 people. That's awesome. For the weekend. And that's coaches, volunteers, staff, referees, anybody who is not a fan or an athlete is allowed basically to come up. And we know they can't get away, and we know they're trapped there, so we just want to show them Aberdeen hospitality.
you do it well.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilman
Mr.
Johnson.
Mayor?
One moment, Councilwoman Forward.
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to pigpile on those positive comments for just a second. I think these were really some impressive year-over-year gains, really strong positive stats. 7% gain in Facebook views year-over-year, 68% increase. That's an impressive spike in website views.
Yeah.
And just wonderful gains, you know. More eyes on Aberdeen, getting out the message, come and see. So congratulations to you and your staff. Well done.
Yep, thank you. And we just got the numbers for January of 25, and the occupancy numbers for 2025 in January has set a 10-year high. So we track that as well.
Nice.
Which years and which months are the high ones? And January of 25 has beaten a 10-year high. So, yes.
Councilwoman Fulberg, did you have something?
Yeah, very you, Casey, for your great work. Especially, it's hard to not think of them this time of year, and it was fun to see how packed Walks Arena was. And I'm wondering if you all use Placer or a similar analytical tool to find out whether the people actually coming to town for the events that you're advertising and for hunting and for summer or tourism are coming from that 10 to 5 region that you're advertising in. Have you done any of that kind of analytics to see where people are actually coming from?
We have, yes. Thank you for that question. We have. Myself, the Chamber, the Downtown Association, the Development Corp, the city, I think Parks and Rec, we're all playing around with that Placer AI app. I've sat in on a few demos now. I know enough just to make me dangerous. And I with free access right now, I'm searching everything. I'm putting together reports and stacking them chest high. But I think once we finally get full access to that, yes. To answer your question, yes, we do look at those numbers. We look at it two different ways. We look at the full visitation, which would include Aberdeen residents, and then we also annex out the Aberdeen residents and look at visitors that are 50 miles away and farther. And then it'll give you the top destinations, the top 10 destinations. You can look at, they call it a heat map, and it'll give you heat indications on areas where traffic is really, really strong. But the nice thing about that, too, is it tells you, for instance, if you're hosting a soccer tournament at the Dome, it'll tell you the top 10 places people visit before they go to the tournament, and it'll give you the top 10 places people visit after the tournament. So, you know, information-wise, when you're looking at advertising or working with these associations and contacts, if they're looking for sponsorships, it's a great tool for that. So to answer your question, yes, but we haven't received full access to it yet.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Councilman.
I'm just thinking that, first of all, I really want to see that heat map very badly. The geographer in me is chomping to see that one. But I also think it would be a good tool potentially to help people who are trying to recruit new employees to move to Aberdeen, simply because the more you're advertising Aberdeen, the more front of the mind it is for folks. And so let's say that, you know, Bismarck is an area that's hot on that heat map. That's potentially an area where a company like Agtegra could be advertising job openings and moving to Aberdeen. So it just seems like there could be more overlap between the many people for people outside of Aberdeen if we got some maybe quarterly meetings together to try and time our recruiting and time our advertising or at least overlay it.
And Casey, you had mentioned the partners that had access, the same access that you'd mentioned the city of Aberdeen. Who in our office?
Amber.
Amber.
Yep, we're working with Amber and Alexa. Alexa actually has access to it, but her subscription runs out in May. And like I said, we're all kind of getting demo trained on this. They give you just enough to really make you excited about it, and we're basically trying to see how much it's going to cost. And the more users you have, the higher the cost is going to be. But with that being said, like I had mentioned many times, if Jay with the Arts Council wanted me to run a report on Arts in the Park or Dawn with Storybook Land Festival, I'd be more than happy to run a report. It takes just a few minutes. So, but we're working out the logistics on the cost and logins. But yeah, it's a process.
Sure. Well, appreciate the access to that and your continued work.
Thank you.
Appreciate you joining us here tonight. Good to see you as always. No one else has anything for Casey. We will move along to our approval of resolution. It's 250302R. It invalidates votes for a council member due to conflict of interest. Ron, would you just walk us through the basics of that? We had an opportunity to chat about it, and this is kind of where we ended up.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The proposed resolution identifies non-bills paying type votes taken by Councilman Ward, and then the third are a number of just routine bill payments regarding climate control. These amount essentially to more technical violations than any kind of ill intent. Past practice has been to simply pass a resolution invalidating those votes, and that would be the end of the matter. And so resolution number 250302 deals with that in the same way. And I recommend that the council approve the resolution and we move on.
I will move to approve this.
I've got a motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Norstrup. Does anyone have anything to say before we take the vote? All right, we kind of discussed it as I had mentioned at length last week. Kathy, would you give us a roll call vote then on this resolution?
Councilmember Norstrup,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Abstain.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fulberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next is a possible first reading of an ordinance. It's titled 250301. It amends our requirements for a moving permit or building moving permit from Chapter 46 of the City Code. We held off on it last week in Ken's absence. Ken, welcome back. Would you walk us through what we're trying to accomplish here by amending this ordinance?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. This was something that's been a long-standing, not necessarily a problem, but just an issue that keeps coming up where anytime a building's moved through town, there's some discrepancy on when it surpasses a threshold that would require a permit, which entails approving a route, a police escort, and then bonding. This goes through, cleans up that by limiting it to buildings only being necessary when buildings exceed 12 feet in width or 15 feet loaded height. I'm sorry, we have it in here as 13 feet, but there's been some discussion about amending that up to 15 feet. This will protect overhanging utilities, signs, so forth from any damages. And then the other big issue in here is removing the cash bond and allowing them to be insured or a surety bond, posting a surety bond. in order to do that work. So the finance office doesn't have to maintain those $500 cash bonds anymore. That's kind of the short version of it. If anybody has any questions, I'm sure Stu or I or...
So it looks like before there was no particular size requirement whatsoever. Any building that got moved had to. Now we're going to increase the size so that the smallest of the buildings to be moved won't need a permit. And you'd made mention of changing the 13 feet to 15 feet. When is that going to happen, or what is your thought process with that?
As this is before you, it's printed at 13 feet. After further discussions with the Public Works Department, 15 foot is what we're more comfortable with. So we can change that for second reading.
Or maybe just with an amendment here tonight?
Right.
Yep.
Does anyone have any? Well, first of all, I'd take a motion on the ordinance itself.
Moved.
Second.
Motion Ronayne, second Johnson. Aside from that 15-foot clearance up from 13, are there any concerns or questions that anyone in the council has? Councilman Ward.
Yeah, just want to be clear. Well, I'll just go ahead and say it. I'd move to make an amendment exceeds 15 feet in height to match what Ken is saying.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ward and a second from Councilman Northrup in changing that the height requirement from 13. Is it 13 or 12?
13 in height
15.
to 15.
All right. Discussion around that. That was just this. Would be clear with the public utility lines and so forth.
What we found was the companies that build these sheds and move them, they can have buildings up to 14.5 feet in height when they're loaded. So by moving it to 15, which is still about 2 feet under kind of the minimum height for utilities, we should have plenty of clearance there.
And how many of these moving situations are existing facilities are being pried off of foundations and moved across town, like homes that you'll see from time to time, versus these sheds that you're talking about?
It's maybe more of a Ken
last
question.
year we issued approximately 10 permits for situations like that.
And how many of those were just sheds that were built elsewhere that were being thrown into somebody's backyard?
Those were probably the ones being moved from one location in town to another, and they could have been sheds, garages, full houses, but it would have been that probably 10 to 12 range.
And then the ones that were built, say at like out in front of the mall or whatever, those get transported. Those people just weren't seeking those.
No, those ones are actually the ones that typically do the most permitting. They have decreased significantly because, as you mentioned earlier, there was no threshold. It was just all buildings needed a moving permit. And then, I don't know, all of my time here, that had been limited to 120 square feet. And then we upped that to 200 approximately 2 or 3 years ago. And that really brought the number of permits down.
Thank you. Appreciate you cleaning that up for common sense. Ken, I'd take let's do a voice vote on that amendment. Kathy, if you would be so kind, we've got our motion and our second. To do that, that would change the height requirement from minimum from 13 feet to 15.
Councilmember Nostrop,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Foberg,
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
All right, that amendment does pass. We've still got the issue of the ordinance itself in front of us. Any other questions or comments from the council?
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Councilwoman Foberg.
Yeah, Ken, can you, I just want to clarify. So if I bought a shed if we change this and I bought a shed, I could just grab a flatbed trailer and move it myself now without any permitting? Is that where we're going?
You could do it if it did not exceed those dimensions, a 12-foot loaded height or a 15-foot, 12-foot loaded width or a 15-foot loaded height.
Okay, and if we were following the rules that are currently in place, I would need to get a permit. And what would that permit tell me? That I have to tie it down in 15 places? Or like how specific is this permit in terms of helping me understand how to not have this shed topple off my trailer?
The permit in the past has required that the route be approved by the city and that it receives a police escort from or through town to the location.
But nothing about how it's secured.
On the trailers, no.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
And so the policy of the 200 feet that we were talking about does not appear in the ordinance that's being changed. That was a policy.
Correct, that was a policy.
And so that'll be adjusted accordingly.
Yep, this will give us a cut and dry dimension. We can just say that as long as it's not going to be too wide to drive down a lane of traffic or too high to hit a street light, you're free to move them. If it's going to need that extra bit of approval or supervision, then we want to be a part of that with the permitting process.
And then presumably the homes that are being passed through town on Highway 12 are not. They wouldn't require permitting because they're passing
State
through.
highways, they don't require the permitting through the city.
Sounds good. If no one else has anything, Kathy, would you give us a roll call vote then on the ordinance itself?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Nostrop.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, possible abatement of property taxes for real property within city limits. Kathy, are you going to walk us through that one? I know that Jordan generally does.
Yep, I sure can. Thank you. So tonight we have an application for abatement. It's presented by the county, recommended by the Director of Equalization due to a change in the amended factored value of the property, approved by County Commission, and staff tonight recommends approval as well.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne, a second from Councilman Ward. Any questions for Kathy on these on this abatement? All right, Kathy, would you give us a roll call?
Councilmember Nostrop.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a possible consideration to waive a TIF application fee for affordable housing submitted by Homes Are Possible. I see Darren back there. Kathy, would you just walk us through what fees that he would have had to have paid and what we're planning to do?
I'm going to defer this to City Manager or City Attorney, please.
Okay, sorry about that. I can see that presented by Robin Bobzine, but thought I'd push it on you anyway.
Dirty trick.
Robin, walk us through this one. I know.
Well, and Darren's here. We had met last week, and part of this process is just the application fee to get things moving. I believe there would be another fee later on if things go through. So he's just asking right now that we waive the $1,000 fee, which was something that was just implemented within the last year. So we would recommend approval of that waiver.
And two additional justifications are that this is our first true affordable housing TIF. So that means that there's a minimum or a maximum that these properties can be sold for. They have to stay under first-time home buyers amounts approved by the South Dakota Housing Authority. And secondly, this is a nonprofit that is making this application. We don't know that we'll do this every time that it's a happy TIF, but we know that in this case, because it's an affordable housing TIF, we're recommending that application fee be waived.
Thank you. All right, if someone would be so kind as to make a motion on that.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Ward, second Northstrop. Any questions? Pretty well explained for us. Kathy, would you give us a roll call?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Abstain.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Nostrop.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Thanks for joining us, Darren. Next, we've got a possible approval for a pay request for $108,287.11 to Dami Construction. It's for our mill and overlay project improvements. Stu, what can you tell us about how the project is going and what we're paying for?
So this project wrapped up August probably of last year. Turns out that we never released their retainage, and they did do the restoration work, which amounted to about $1,600. So the remainder of the money there is money that was held in retainage on the project. So we're just cleaning it up and closing the project out.
So this is number 4 and 5.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, I guess it doesn't say that on there. I didn't see that.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Ronayne, second Johnson. Kathy, roll call, please.
Councilmember Nostrop,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Forberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next is our bill and payroll section of the meeting. Payroll period is for March 9th through the 22nd, as well as the associated taxes associated with paying our city employees. I take a motion to pay the bills.
Move to pay the bills.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt, second Councilman Ronayne. Kathy, would you give us a final roll call vote of the evening, please?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Forberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Ward,
Abstain.
Johnson,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Nostrop,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. City Manager,
Mr. Mayor,
go ahead, Councilwoman.
I forgot to abstain from the Dakota Bank item. Can I do that still?
Kathy, can you make note that Councilman Folberg is abstaining from the payment to Dakota Bank otherwise, and City Manager Robin Bob Zine, what have you got for our report here tonight?
It was a busy week last week. We did have Ron and Jordan and I were at the South Dakota Municipal League district meeting and got an update on what happened during the course of the session this year. I was a speaker at the Chamber Connections meeting on Thursday. We had a court security meeting with the county this last Friday to discuss different options that we might want to pursue for that project. There was, I don't know if anybody else attended the Aberdeen Community Concert Association 60s Mania, but it was well attended. That was in the Civic Theater. That was a very good concert and allowed you to go back in time a little bit. It was a lot of fun. We have started the process for trying to find Mark Hoven's replacement, and that is that'll be a challenge, but we've got some good candidates to look at, and we will be doing some of those interviews this week. And then last but not least, in the police department, we did a 5-year certificate of appreciation for Clayton Innes, and Mr. Ken Hubbard got his 20-year this morning. And so congratulations, Ken. And Deb Cornelius in finance got her 25 years. So we've got some people who have some years on them now. So Ken looks like he must have started when he was 5. So
Yeah, I assume that you don't have gray hair because you're not an elected official over here. But,
That was good.
that is
So-
all I've got.
well, thank you to Clayton, Ken, and Deb. Appreciate your service to the community. If there's nothing else, I would take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Motion Johnson, second Norpstrop. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.